In today's video, we're going to be discussing your body fat set point, how to change it, what it is, and why you always regain the weight once you do a fat loss phase. So the first thing that I would like to discuss in this video, because I've made this mistake many times myself, I've lost the weight, I've gained it back, and we help a lot of clients, and we see a lot of clients struggle with this before they come into our program. And really what happens to a lot of people is they take an aggressive approach that's unrealistic to their lifestyle. They diet down and they gain it back. They wait a couple years because they feel discouraged, and then they do this whole process again. So only continue watching this video if you are just sick and tired of that never-ending, emotional roller coaster. I know that I hit my, my tipping point a while ago, years ago, and that's what allowed me to finally reach a sustainable place in my fitness journey. But I know that for some people, they just haven't hit that point yet. So if that's you, you've hit that point, continue watching this video. If it's not you, then there's probably a quick fix somewhere on YouTube that you can go look at right now. So what basically happens is you diet down by restricting carbs, restricting a lot of sugar, and inherently you just start eating a lot less, right? But if you don't plan on doing this long term, okay, if you don't plan on doing this long term, what ends up happening is when you go back to your normal way of eating, you will just gain the weight back, okay? And a lot of this has to do with the fact that you are not taking into account specific calorie numbers, specific macronutrient percentages, and all of that. So it really does make a big difference. Now, I want to use myself as an example so that you can understand how this works long term. Now, I've changed my body fat set point several times. I used to be 240 pounds at 5'8", and now I'm comfortable around 200 pounds at 5'8". Obviously, my height hasn't increased, right? But I have gotten my healthy, body fat set point much lower over the years. And how I've usually done this, and this is how we do it with our clients as well, is you want to do a phase by phase approach. This is incredibly important. If you've ever done a fat loss phase before and you're just like, I'm going to diet, but you have no idea what you're doing after, you are going to want to listen to this and take notes if you can. If you do a phase by phase approach, you have a backup plan. Okay, you have a structured plan to progress after you diet. Most people think, oh, I'm just going to diet and that's it. No, you're going to set yourself up for failure. So what I normally do is a 3 to 4 month dieting phase. This allows me to lose around a pound per week, and it allows me to lose fat in a way that's sustainable for me. I don't have to do any crazy cardio. I just increase my step count. I don't have to do any crazy restrictions, so I can still go out to eat, still, have alcoholic drinks if I'd want to, etc. So what this allows me to do is drop around, 15 to 20 pounds in this time frame. And since I've been building muscle for a while, that's really, all I'll ever want to lose. Honestly, I'm not doing, 60-pound drops anymore or anything like that. I've done that before. That's because I had a lot of extra body weight to lose. And if that's you, you might want to do 3 pounds of dieting, break 3 pounds of dieting, and then start this process. But the whole point is that after you finish a fat loss phase, you'll want to do what's called a reverse diet, okay? Now, let's say that you start dropping body fat at 2,500 calories. Over the course of 3 to 4 months, there's a lot of adjustments made in calories, but let's say that you end around 2,000 calories or so. That's where you're finished your fat loss phase. And 2,000 calories for you is a deficit. So what we'll do with our clients is we will bump them up a couple hundred calories to get their maintenance, okay? This is very important. So a lot of people think that when you increase calories, no matter how much it is, that you will automatically start gaining weight, okay? I'm going to use someone as an example, one of our clients, Max, okay? Max started with us around 206 pounds. We got to 190 pounds. He felt like this was a good spot to stop. So we increased his calories a couple hundred, and he's been 190 for the past 3 weeks because that's his maintenance calories, okay? After you're at maintenance for around 2 to 3 weeks in our program, then we like to start pushing food. But we don't push food in an aggressive way. We push food week by week, and we go every single week by week, just to make sure that we don't have crazy spikes with our body weight and body fat. And what we're trying to do is get your body adapted to more food over time. In this process, it takes just as much time to do when you are as when you're dieting. So if you diet for 3 months, you will be doing a reverse diet for 3 months. And basically what ends up happening is that you start building more muscle, your testosterone starts going up again after an aggressive diet, your hunger cues will start to normalize. And this is why they call it a reverse diet, because we're kind of reversing some of those negative hormonal effects that happen from dieting, okay? Many people don't know this, but the reason why you get very, very hungry at the end of a dieting phase is because of a couple hormones in your body that get downregulated when you do diet. So that's why it's incredibly important to know these things before you go into it, so that you don't fail, and find yourself very frustrated. So after this reverse dieting phase, you will find yourself at a lower body fat with more muscle mass, and you'll be able to eat the foods that you enjoy because you'll have plenty of calories to do so, okay? Now, that's exactly how this process works. Just to recap, it would basically be a phase to kind of get a good understanding of where you're at, meeting you where you're at, fat loss phase, then reverse diet. And then from there, you can have more fun and either diet down again if you have more body fat to lose, or what I recommend for a lot of people is to stay in maintenance for a while. You know, a lot of people think that their journey in fitness is either moving, or it's either going or it's not, based off of weight on the scale. And I can tell you, like, you can make a lot of progress in the gym, weightlifting, with your strength gains and muscle mass, if you just stay around maintenance for like most of the year. I know for me, I don't like to continuously gain weight over a period of time, because the more weight you gain, if you play that game, you're just going to have more and more body fat to lose for your cut. So for me, I'd rather just slowly put on size, maybe a pound of muscle per month. And then from there, one day, if I do want to diet, like I'm currently in a dieting phase right now, I've lost around 4 pounds, and I'm already starting to feel like much better about my body fat percentage, etc. So this is really how you change your body fat set point, and you basically want to rinse and repeat this process up until you find yourself in a happy spot, okay? Again, I used to be 240 pounds, and that was my normal walking around weight. Now my normal walking around weight, eating a healthy calorie goal, is around 200 pounds, okay? How I did that was I went from 240 to 220. That was my normal. Then I went from 220 to 210. That was my normal. And then I went from 210 to now 200. That was my normal. And that's been repeated over the past several years. So now I'm going to be doing that process again, and I'll probably end up somewhere in the high 90s, okay? High 190s. And I'm not really in a rush to get much lower in body fat, okay? Hope this video was valuable in showing you what body fat set point is, why it is that a lot of people regain the weight back, and how to execute this process for yourself. If you want help by us holding you accountable as a coaching team, then click the link down below, fill out the form, book a call. We don't do any high pressure sales BS. So all you can do is show up to the call curious, and I can explain to you how the process works, adapted to your physique and your schedule. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for watching the video.